Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so very much for joining us this afternoon. My name is Dr. Ansley Booker. I am the Director for Diversity and Inclusion Initiatives at Mercer University, and this is going to be our next speaker series where we have some dynamic panelists to introduce you to this afternoon to talk about Women's History Month. And so, what I'll do is I'll begin this afternoon's platform by introducing our moderator for this afternoon, and I'll begin with her bio. So, as a city of Atlanta native, Catherine Elliott Ficklin, parents encouraged her to be the best she could be in whatever she undertook while never forgetting to give back. After graduating from the Frederick Douglass High School Center for Engineering and Applied Technology, Catherine joined the Mercer family. Upon arrival at Mercer University, Catherine continued her community service efforts with organizations such as the Minority Mentor Program, organizations of Black students, QuadWorks, Bear Buddies, and Habitat for Humanity. Having becoming a member of the first Black Greek letter organization recognized by Mercer University, the Iota Sigma chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, she continued her passion for serving the community by serving as the vice president of outreach, sisterhood, and programming for her sorority. Catherine has received both her Bachelor's of Science in Engineering, specializing in electrical engineering, and a Master of Business Administration degrees from Mercer University, respectively. Catherine has served with the Macon Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, the Warner Robins Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and after graduation, she began her career at the Robins Air Force Base in Warner Robins, Georgia. Thank you again for joining us with our conversation today, Uncomfortable Conversations with our Black women and our Mercer alums. Thank you so very much. Again, I am the Director for Diversity and Inclusion at Mercer University, Dr. Ansela Booker, and I'm going to turn it over to tonight's moderator, I make your doctor girl.
Speak it into existence.
Into existence. Mrs. Catherine Elliott Ficklin. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much for that introduction. That was awesome. Thank you so much. I definitely appreciate it. At this time, I would like to start by introducing our panelists. First up, we have Ms. Amber Tiffany Jones. Amber Jones is a proud Macon, Georgia native and a member of the Macon Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Amber graduated from Savannah State University, earning a Bachelor of Arts degree in Mass Communication with a minor in Business Management. She also earned an MBA from Wesleyan College and is a 2013 graduate of Leadership Macon. Amber is a 2019 graduate of the Mercer University School of Law, where she served as co-president of the Association of Women Law Students, American Bar Association Chair, Black Law Student Association Community Service Chair, as well as the Political Action Chair, and was a member of the Mercer Advocacy Council. She currently serves as the Regional Vice President of the Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys. A former WGXA anchorperson and news personality, Amber is currently a contract negotiator for Lockheed Martin. So thank you, Amber, for joining us today. Next up, we have Ms. Deetra Giles. Deetra is a 4-time TEDx speaker, international keynote speaker, executive coach, award-winning author, and that has a track record of taking teams from functioning poorly and making them top producers. Clients call her university tested and industry approved. Having worked with clients like MARTA, Kaiser Permanente, the Centers for Disease Control, the Army Corps of Engineers, and the Salvation Army, Deetra takes her education and years of experience and turns them into results-driven actions for her clients. She holds a BA in English and Spanish from Mercer University, an MBA, and a Master's of Science in Conflict Management. She has served as adjunct faculty at the Federal Executive Institute, Georgia State University, Mercer University, and as faculty member for Goldman Sachs' 10,000 Small Businesses and the Tory Burch Foundation. Welcome, Deetra Giles, tonight. Next up, we have the Honorable Erica Woodford. The Honorable Erica Woodford serves as the Clerk of Superior Court of Bibb County. Ms. Woodford was elected Clerk of Superior Court in Bibb County in 2012. She was re-elected in 2016 and again in 2020. Before being elected as clerk, Ms. Woodford served the Macon and Middle Georgia community for almost 2 decades, serving in the judiciary, operating a private law practice, and teaching at the university level. Ms. Woodford has worked diligently to improve access to the court system by hiring bilingual clerks and training the office staff on effective customer service skills. Ms. Woodford partnered the clerk's office with Mercer University in the Slaved Record Project, in which records of the transactions of Africans as slaves from 1823 through the 1860s were digitized for public access. She earned her Juris Doctorate from Cumberland School of Law of Samford University, Birmingham, Alabama in 2000. She earned her Bachelor of Arts degree from Mercer University, Macon, Georgia in 1997. Ms. Woodford is the mother of two talented children, Ashley and Eric. She and her family attend Unionville Missionary Baptist Church here in Macon, Georgia. Thank you and welcome, Madam Clerk Woodford. Next up, we have the Honorable Brenda Umis. The Honorable Brenda Umis was appointed and later sworn in on February 17, 2021 as an Associate Judge of the Macon-Bibb Magistrate and Civil Court. Born and raised in Cairo, Georgia, Judge Umis graduated from Cairo High School. She received her Bachelor of Arts dual degree in Psychology and Human Services from Mercer University in 1985. In 1988, she received her Juris Doctorate from Mercer University's Walter F. George School of Law, where she was a member of Moot Court, Black Law Student Association, and was inducted into the Order of Barrister. Following graduation from law school, she entered private practice with the law office of Lonzie F. Edwards Sr. The law firm later became Edwards and Umis, LLC, where she was a partner. Judge Umis has over 30 years of legal experience in the area of general civil and criminal law. She is a 38-year member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, where she has served as the president of Epsilon Omega Omega chapter in Macon, Georgia since January 2018. She served 12 years as a member of Macon City Council. She's also previously served as the president of the Boys and Girls Club of Central Georgia, where she received the Lifetime Medallion Service Award. She was a member of Leadership Macon, Career Women Network, advocate for Bibb Citizen Advocacy, trustee of the United Way of Central Georgia, Urban Development Authority, the Chief Justice Robert Benham Commission of Community Service, and appointed by U.S. Congressman Sanford Bishop as a member of the Board of Selection for Military Academies. Thank you and welcome to the presentation this evening. So now we're going to go into our questions for our panelists. As a reminder, to be respectful of everyone's time, we're going to ask that we try to keep all responses under a minute. So our first question will go to Deetra. The global theme for International Women's Day was Women in Leadership Achieving an Equal Future in a COVID-19 World. What does this mean to you when it comes to your career?
So for me, as a person, I tell people I get people from the corner to the cubicle office. So I'm very passionate about women taking their rightful place in leadership. And what this meant for me, because we know that Women's Equal Pay Day was just March 24th, and that's Women's Equal Pay Day. We know there's a different equal pay day for Black women, which ends up being in August, and a different equal pay day for Latinas and Native Americans, which ends up being in September and October, respectively. But this COVID environment that we were in was one of the first times we got a chance to prove to the world what we've been saying. Historically, we've been discriminated against because of families. Oh, you can't have kids and be a career woman. Oh, you can't have a spouse and be a career woman. You can't do both of those things successfully. And this time, everybody had to be home. We all had to manage the kids. We all had to do all this stuff that we historically had been told we couldn't do successfully. And y'all, women went home and killed it. We went home and we managed them daggone kids and still got the project in early and under budget. We went home and still led the department. And so we've shown what we've been telling you all along. We can do this. We deserve our rightful place in leadership and we should be promoted. So for me, of course, this pandemic was horrible, but I love that women got the opportunity to show that we deserve to be leaders, and not just deserve it. We were created for it and we've been doing it all along. And in this environment, it was undeniable. Now we have to step into our rightful place and start demanding what we deserve, but we've even proven to ourselves that we can do it. And now that we've done that, pay us. Our equal pay day does not need to be March, August, September, October. We've proven it. And now we have to stand together in solidarity and demand that our equal pay day be December 31st, like everybody else that we're trying to catch up to.
Definitely. Thank you so much. I definitely agree with all those points that you made. I'm waiting for my payday, okay? Amber, the next question is for you. The annual theme for 2021 is Valiant Women of the Vote, Refusing to be Silenced. The theme was carried over from last year in celebration of the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment. What has the 19th Amendment guaranteed for women, And do you think it has restricted others?
Let's just talk about how in Georgia the pendulum has swung, and that's because we have leaders here that weren't afraid to fight for our right to vote. I might not answer your question directly, but I'm going to say what I want to say because I have a platform. So here in Georgia, we have a history of things being done to us and our vote being suppressed and people being afraid to retaliate. But we're so grateful for Stacey Abrams and Fair Fight because we got an opportunity to really let our voices be heard and not just like, I'm all for a protest, but with a protest has to come action. I love the action behind it. I love the change behind it. I feel like it gave us a momentum to make our state now blue, then purple. And even though there may have been an injustice somewhere with that voter suppression, and I'm not saying it's over or it's done, but I am saying we're making some strides forward. But what we have to do is be vigilant. You know, we have to use our education, our influence, our family members, our time to make sure that we don't go backwards, because sometimes I think that we forgot that our parents and our grandparents actually like went to jail and literally fought and got spit on and hosed down for us to have the right to vote. And we need to be inclusive in that process. It's so paramount, not just for presidential elections, but right here in local elections in your hometown, you can make a difference. You can inform voters. And that's how we cure voter suppression, because they can't suppress you if you know what you're supposed to have and you fight for it. And that's the answer that I'm going to give. Thank you, Catherine.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your response. Madam Clerk, the next question will go for you. Why haven't we achieved equity despite legislation being in place regarding pay?
I think that is a multifold answer to that. For one, we haven't received equity because there is access as an obstacle. So women have historically either been denied or just have not had certain opportunities for access to training, access to education, either because of child care or gender roles. And so with that lack of access to training, comes access to eligibility to fulfill those roles and those positions. Also, once the woman gets into that position, it's oftentimes that she doesn't feel like there's a safe space. So I see that now more with younger hires. When I'm interviewing younger candidates, they feel like they have a safe space, and I try to provide one so that they can talk about their employment, or I'm sorry, their salary goals and requirements. But I think that in the community at large, in this country, there's not a safe space, or at least women don't feel like there's a safe space to discuss salary issues and, you know, what salary they feel like they should have without the fear of some sort of retribution or payback or pushback. So finally, I think that once we provide access to training, access to education, and by training, you know, training on the job or whatever type of training that woman needs, once we make sure that there's fair access to those trainings and make sure that we create a culture of having a safe space so that we can have a conversation and dialogue about equal pay and our salary requirements, then we'll have some equity.
Madam Clerk, you're so right. Access is the key to a lot of things that we're facing today. Judge Yumis, this question was made just for you. What does the historic election of your soror, Vice President, and former attorney Kamala Harris mean to you?
Well, first and foremost, it is a very honor and remarkable event that she is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, but it's not just a representation of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. When she campaigned, she represented the Divine Nine, which consists of all of the Greek organization, because we all participated in making sure that she was elected in that role. But more importantly, she's a woman, and she's made that history for women as a whole. Particularly African-American women and women as a whole. As she said before, I may be the first, but I won't be the last. And what she's saying to us that I made history, I'm here, but we need to keep the fight going. We can't stop. I think similar to what Amber Jones said, that we can't let others forget that remarkable event in 2020. We keep it going in the future so that we can see more. And that the greatest accomplishment that we can get from seeing her as vice president is that we can see an African American woman as president of the United States of America. So it's a stepping stone to showing that when they say you can't, we show them, and when we come together, we show them that we can.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for that. The next question is, what women support and inspire you on your career path? These examples can include leaders, celebrities, trailblazers, colleagues, and or family. I'm going to start with Deetra.
So when I hear questions like this, I always avoid talking about the celebrities, because what happens when we talk about celebrities or these famous people, it almost gives us permission to not be great. So if I say, "Oh, Oprah inspires me," we can sit back and say, "Oh, I'm not an Oprah. I don't have to be great." And that's a lie. So when I think of people that inspire me, I think of everyday people who are out there killing it, like my LS Athena and Kenan, who decided, and as opposed to going out there and getting this multi-million-dollar career, I'm going to sacrifice for my country and go and serve my country in the military. People like Judge Eleanor Ross, a very good friend of mine, who's a federal judge here in Atlanta. She serves here in Atlanta. But I remember when Eleanor had her children and she decided, I'm going to give up my legal career because this is what I want to do to serve my family. And now, even though at that time everyone said, you have lost your mind, you are ruining your career to go off and take care of some kids, she decided that she was going to be authentic to herself and do it on her own terms. And even people like you, Catherine, who have decided, I'm staying attached to the mission I came here to make sure that the African Americans and the Black people at Mercer University stay connected as a whole, because that's how we got through Mercer University, and that's how we're going to get through our careers. So all of us have, when I see everyday people going out there and sticking to their purpose and their authenticity, I'm inspired. And especially how those same people, even those from my sorority, Iota Sigma Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, how we support each other. And when I'm out there, just having one of my sisters come back and say, Sarah, I see you. You're out there killing it. Keep going. Those people keep me inspired and keep me pushing to do and be better, so I can look back and inspire somebody else.
That was amazing. And I'm honored to be included in that list. So thank you so much. Amber, what about you?
Sure, I have a long list, but I'm going to keep it short. I'm very similar to what was previously said. I would be telling a fib if I didn't say that Judge Umis and Madam Clerk Woodford and Judge Colvin didn't inspire me in lots of ways, because I went to law school late in life and I was able to see them do wonderful things as Black female attorneys in my own hometown, making changes and strides that people just, I don't know, I get a little bit emotional thinking about it, because conversations with both of you all confirmed that I would go to law school. And I don't know if y'all even know that, but I called you up or I stopped you and you gave me what I needed to have the confidence in myself to even apply and get through it, take the bar, pass the bar. So I appreciate that. But I would be remiss if I didn't name off two women that influence me every day. And that's going to be my sister, Joy, and my mom, Roberta. My sister just inspires me to be better, like every day. She knows that I can do a better job, and she encourages me to be the greatest person that I can. And if you know my mother, Roberta Jones, you know that she's like an angel on earth. If I could be have 1/3 of the kindness and love that she has for everyone in my heart, I'd be a much better person. So she does encourage me daily to be better.
That is amazing. And I love your mom and your sister as well. So, Madam Clerk, what about you?
So, of course, being in the legal field, I am inspired by legal giants like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who fought for rights for all people. But I'm also inspired by my Peloton instructor, Tunde Oyunye. Oh, and I just messed up her last name, but Tunde. She inspires me every day when I get on my bike, and I haven't ridden today, but I will after this, to push harder, to not be afraid of any challenges that I may face, to keep striving daily to reach my goal. I am also inspired by my mother, who did not go to college, but she made all the sacrifices in the world so that I could get a top-notch education at Mercer University. And lastly, I am inspired by those thousands of women who are named and unnamed, who are found in the property books, in the deed records, in Bibb County Superior Court Clerk's office. Those ladies like Winnie, Beck, Rose, and Harriet, age 11, fair complexion, long straight hair, warranted to be well and sound, sold for $750. Those women are the ones who inspire me every day to push harder, to be greater, to do more. Not just because I am the first African American clerk of Superior Court, but because I am a free woman able to strive every day to reach my goals. So that those ladies inspire me because those are the ladies upon whose shoulders we stand so that we can be present, so that we can receive an education, so that we can choose to raise a family or to raise an empire or whatever that choice may be. So that's my inspiration every day.
It was so powerful. Judge Yumis, what about you?
Do have a plethora of people I can name that women that inspired me throughout my career. But I would start with prioritizing by saying my mother and my oldest sister, Winnie Harris, my mother, Alberta Yumas, both unfortunately deceased now. But my mother, growing from a small town of Cairo, Georgia, did not allow African Americans to go to high school. So ninth grade was the last grade that they could attend school. Um, but yet she stressed education for us. And it was surprising when I graduated from law school. We also, none of us knew, with six of us, that she sent an invitation that she was going to school at the same time I was going to school, and she was graduating with her high school diploma. Um, and so that inspired me that this lady who still, although she was denied an education back then, still worked, attended school, and she received her high school diploma. And my sister Winnie Harris, who finished, who had two children, but she was determined to get her college degree. And at the age of 60, she graduated from FAMU with honors, number 3 in her class. Um, and she always pushed me. And I looked to them as what they did and how they inspired me. And I look at people like Amber and others, and I see on this my teams that I work with at Mercer, the moot court team, Said Matthews and Chad Capers. Um, they inspire me because, and Dakara, she used to work for me, that I want them to see me excel, to see, hey, you can do this. And so it's not always what someone else is doing that I look toward to saying I can become. I have to look at myself in the mirror and say, what am I doing? What type of message or what type of inspiration am I giving to others? And I'm very honored that Amber said that I did. And I am very proud of where she is and what she's doing right now, as I am to Dakar Brown and others too that has been in my life.
Judge Yumis, you are definitely an inspiration in our community. We thank you for all that you have accomplished. So this next question is actually for you as well. How do you succeed in a male-dominated environment and continue to break those glass ceilings that are put before you?
Preservation determination. You must not let the fact that you are female hold you back, to say that even when they try to push you down, you push harder. We have just as much capabilities, and sometimes I kid them and say, if they did have a female president, things probably would run a whole lot better. That we can do. And so the same determination our ancestors fought for us as African Americans to get us our freedom and to get us to where we can go, we need to have that same determination as women. We just recently celebrated, well, it was celebrated, the 100-year anniversary for women's right to vote, which really didn't necessarily apply to us, but we kept fighting, although we fought for that right, and we ended up having to continue to fight for our own individual right after the right was granted, but not to African American women. We continue to fight. So in this male-dominated world, we just have to keep pushing and not get discouraged, not become dismayed, and know that we can. As I say, if she believed you can, and so she did. And so that's what we're going to do. We've set so many milestones, so many accomplishments, so many firsts have been accomplished by women, that we have examples that with men, that the barrier that whatever may set up for us, the dominated men, that hey, ain't no stopping us now.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. Madam Clerk, what gender specific challenges, stereotypes, or barriers have you had to overcome during your career?
Thank you, Catherine. That is a very good question. But you know, it's very hard to discuss gender stereotypes without discussing the intersectionality of racial stereotypes as well, at least in my world. I don't know about the rest of you, but you know, those two sort of intersect and they almost intersect daily. Um, from just for example, if you're a woman and you express your dismay with something, you're emotional. If I want something done the way the statute says it should be done, and I'm standing firm in that, I'm an angry Black woman. You know, there's a lot of different stereotypes that are given to women when we are not just quiet and, you know, docile. So, you know, it's pretty, I mean, that it's a very interesting question, and all I can do is keep pushing forward and keep letting my light shine and keep advocating for myself, for my staff, for fellow women. If I see something that's not right, then I will speak up, especially if it's discrimination or some sort of mistreatment of another woman or another ethnicity. But you know, these issues are not just with me, it's also, it goes from the factory floor to the boardroom. These women have, you know, faced these stereotypes, and it's amazing that, speaking of boardrooms, a lot of boards don't even have women on it. Boards of companies that market specifically to women and women's products, and yet there's no woman on the board. So you know, these stereotypes exist. These women that are on the panel today, we have to keep doing what we do, keep fighting the good fight, and hopefully, you know, the stereotypes will be broken.
Awesome. I definitely agree with everything that you shared. Deetra, share with us how Mercer University has helped to shape your career.
Oh my goodness. The stories, I could write a whole dissertation on just how Mercer University shaped my career. But at Mercer, I learned a thing that I live by continuously. So excuse my language for a second. But at Mercer, I shaped my philosophy of you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So pick the damn that you can live with. Because when I was at Mercer, it was always something. I was the Black girl at a white school. Oh, you weren't good enough. You were the affirmative action kid. Oh, you're too bright. Oh, your hair is too kinky. Oh, you decided to cut all your hair off. Oh, you should let your hair grow. And I realized I can't keep trying to fit into other people's world. So I embrace, like, all these colors you see, I have all the patterns. I became comfortable with that. I became comfortable with my crazy glasses and my kinky hair. And what it taught me was there were so many other people out there trying to conform so they could advance in their career. And that was when I found out what my purpose was. I wanted to help people advance and get to where they wanted to go, from the cubicle to the corner office, while still being themselves and not compromising. And it was so important because I saw people doing it every day. I remember when I was graduating and I went to career services, and the person at career services looked at me. At the time, I had kind of a buzz cut, I had my little afro going on. And she looked at me and said, "That was cute for college, but what you gonna do with your hair?" And I was like, "Oh, honey, they gonna get these kinks. That's what's gonna happen. I am going to be authentically Deetra Giles, and I'm going to be comfortable being that person." And so I learned at Mercer, hey, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So pick the damn that you can live with. And what I could live with was being who I was, no matter what that meant, and decided to help other people do the exact same thing and still get them to where they wanted to be without the compromise.
That is amazing. That might be my new mantra for the next couple of years going forward. So now I want to hear from everyone. Share a woman's empowerment moment that inspired you. Judge Yumis, if you wouldn't mind going first.
You know, in my legal career, I actually, the before we the Vice President Kamala Harris, before we had First Lady Michelle Obama, I was kind of inspired for as my legal career is concerned is former Justice Leah Sears Ward. When she became the first African American woman on the highest court in the state of Georgia. Um, because at that time, it was very few of us on the as judges, period. Whether it was Supreme Court, Superior Court, State Court, in the clerk's office, African Americans were not represented on those levels. And when to come to find out that she made it, and just like Deidre Jha was saying, she said, "This is who I am." You know, people talked about the fact that she had her afro, and then sometimes she had the puff off, but she said she had the braids. But this is who I am, and she made a mark about what it is that she could do and how she excelled to that point. So that was a very empowering moment to me to let me know that hey, it was tough being an attorney back then, being an African American attorney. Tough getting jobs in places. It was tough, being in the big firms or being in the court system. But she gave me a sense of hope that if you could make it to that level, then surely I can make it where I'm at. So that was an empowering moment for me when she became the Supreme Court justice.
Awesome. Amber, what about you? What was a women's empowerment moment that inspired you?
So I thought about this question a lot and made lots of notes on it, but the one that rang the most true would be some of my closest friends from school breaking down barriers, because when we finished school, we were kind of discouraged about where we were going to end up, but they've all ended up doing wonderful things. And the one in particular that I'm going to share about is my friend, Lieutenant Sergeant Diamond Akers, who is now a JAG officer for the Army. And that's so competitive. And I feel like she's beautiful. She's a lady. She wears weave and lashes and makeup, but she's strong and she's mighty. And I think she's a representation of like, you can have everything. Like, you can be strong, you can protect our country, you can be a lawyer, and you can be beautiful and fabulous too. And there's nobody that should be able to limit that. And I think it's important to know that, like, sometimes people like look at you like you're not as professional if you want to have clothes on or want to put on makeup or want to get your hair done, but you have to feel good about you and do well by yourself before you can do well by other people. And I think I saw my classmate on here, Conley Scott, but every final we would put on suits to go take tests because we believe that if you dress well, you test well. And so I just want to give some homage to Diamond, and she's doing great and practicing law as a JAG attorney when so many people told her that she couldn't. And so the number one girl in our class is a JAG officer. Diamond is a JAG officer too.
That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Madam Clerk.
There have been so many empowering moments that I've experienced. A lot of them I'll just stick to local and my life at Mercer. So many of my line sisters, like Miss Dakara Brown Esquire, her perseverance, her fighting the good fight, and she knows what I'm talking about. That inspires me. My line sister Thomasina, Dr. Thomasina Odom Lawson, who is a therapist, and she also cares for herself and inspires me, to take time for myself and my well-being. And my line sister, Dr. Natasha Conley. I mean, it's so many of my line sisters. My line sister, Tasheen Green, who when we attended Mercer, she's probably the smallest woman I've ever met, or one of, and I won't talk about anyone on the panel, Judge Umas, but my line sister Tasheen is very vertically challenged, but she was over the entire ROTC at Mercer, and she was already an officer in the Army. So if you would see this cute, compact, tiny little woman handling it, managing the entire ROTC, I guess it's called ROTC, at Mercer. I mean, I thought that she was just amazing, and she was really, and still is, my shero, based on all that she's done and accomplished. And she also went to law school and became an attorney and practiced for the armed forces for many years.
That's amazing. My sorors are doing big things. I'm excited about it.
Amazing thing from short people, isn't it?
Just a little.
So, Deidre, can you share with us a woman's empowerment moment that inspired you?
So mine's is a little bit odd, and so bear with me. But one of the most powerful women's empowerment moments for me in the very recent future was when Stacey Abrams lost the gubernatorial race. And let me tell you why that was so empowering for me, because historically, what they try to do, or what people try to do, is make it the angry Black woman. Oh, we can't take defeat. Oh, they're not built for the tough stuff, right? And what she threw that thing on its head. And because she lost, we won. And what she did was she took a defeat and she showed us what women do when things don't go our way. We don't crawl into somebody's corner into a fetal position and cry and weep our eyes out. What we do is we're like basketballs, we bounce back. And what she showed us is what it looks like when you tell a woman what she cannot do and what she cannot have. And when I tell you, the way she handled that gubernatorial defeat was so empowering for women around the world. I mean, she took a defeat and flipped a whole state, right? And that's what it looks like. So for me, that was such an empowering moment for every woman to step back and say, that's the example. That's what I want it to look like when things don't go my way. Don't take anything from me that's rightfully mine, because not only will I come back and get it, I will get yours, mine, and everyone else's. Don't play with what belongs to me. And so when I say that was the women's empowerment moment we needed, that was it for me.
Stacey Abrams has definitely proven herself to be a force to be reckoned with. So I'm definitely grateful for all of her work. So for our next question, on March 9th, 2021, the Georgia House of Representatives voted unanimously in favor of HB 479, a full repeal of citizens' arrest. It is now in the Senate, and if passed, Georgia will be the first in the nation to do so. Amber, what are your thoughts about this bill?
I knew you were going to ask me to answer this. And I really think this could be historical and a game changer for our state. We're so far behind, like last to give out COVID vaccines in the nation. I don't know what's happening, but it would be really great if we could make some moves towards some safety for our people, because something about a citizen's arrest just makes me feel uncomfortable. Like, what gives you the authority to arrest me? Like, how do you know the law? How do you know I'm doing something wrong? And how do I know you might not hurt me? And to me, that just sounds like a lawsuit, because how are you going to detain me? Like, what gives you the right to hold me hostage? And the fact that that exists, I think, is very antiquated at a time where people didn't have like police forces and sheriffs and a number to call, maybe way back when they were coming on horses. But I think it's just like so many things on the books that need to be reevaluated. And I think it's a good thing that we are taking a look at this and that it's moving forward. I'm gonna be a little bit sad if it doesn't pass. It's kind of like a necessary must, because it's just so many things that can happen with the idea of my equal trying to arrest me. Like, if you put it down as simple as it goes, like, I'm gonna resist that, like, and I'll just deal with the consequences later. So I know other people will. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Madam Clerk, do you have a response to the question?
I do have a response, actually. I know that House Bill 479 was drafted with Ahmaud Arbery in mind. However, the devil is in the detail. Sometimes we try to do just things and they have unjust outcome. So yes, it is great that we will repeal the citizen's arrest. However, this House bill creates the opportunity for 3 other types of citizen's arrest. So the devil is in the detail, and I'll tell you about this, and I'll try to be very brief. So sure, it repeals citizens arrest. However, the House bill adds that a police officer who is not in his jurisdiction can arrest you and or detain you if you are doing something, if he suspects that you're committing a crime. And we all know about suspicion. That's what happened with Ahmaud Arbery. So what does that mean? We have a Warner Robins officer come to Bibb County. He's not a deputy in Bibb. He's not taking an oath to serve and protect Bibb. He did that in Warner Robins. He comes to Macon to hang out. He's up at the mall at River Crossing. He sees a group of children together, or I say children, a group of young men together, and he suspects something is happening. So then he can detain, i.e. arrest that person or that group of people. So what is this? This is basically a citizen's arrest because these young men do not know that this is an actual officer. And then what if the officer gets shot or retaliated against or injured because these young men are saying, hey, you're not going to arrest me. Who are you? What are you doing? So this is just de facto citizen's arrest when an officer outside of his or her jurisdiction is trying to detain someone under the color of law. So that's one. The second is that this bill gives retail shop owners the right to detain someone when they suspect that a person is committing a theft by taking or shoplifting, or I think it's called refund fraud, something like that. So what does that mean? And I don't know about any of you women. I know that I've been suspected of shoplifting just by virtue of the fact of being in a high-end store. So this store owner or his or her employee can now detain someone if this bill is passed, if they suspect that the person is committing shoplifting. Third, the bill also allows for a restaurant owner to detain someone if they suspect that person is committing a theft by taking, or I guess skipping out on their bill. So, you go to the restroom, you stay too long, maybe the restaurant owner suspects that you're trying to skip out on your bill, or, whatever the case may be. So again, this creates another form of citizen's arrest in my mind. And finally, these private citizens, as I call them, the shop owner, the restaurant owner, the police officer outside of his jurisdiction, now have immunity. So if the detained person sues, that person's going to lose his case because the private citizen who makes the arrest has immunity if it's found that they were reasonable. And we know that reasonable is so subjective. So the devil is in the detail. I would say contact your state senator, your representative, to express your feelings about these details. Yes, we don't want any form of citizen's arrest. So those are my thoughts.
That is definitely good information. I didn't realize the details that went along with this bill, so thank you for sharing that. The devil is definitely in the details. Deidre, why do you think we need more women in leadership, furthermore, inclusive leadership?
Because women do it better. I mean, no, let's be inclusive, everybody. We love everybody, all of our male allies and those that pledge allegiance with us. We love everybody. But here's the reality. The data doesn't lie to us. What we see is that, because I'm working human resources, and people laugh at me because my clients like me because I'm a businesswoman that does human resources, not a human resources professional that does business. And when I go to my clients, my first concern is their bottom line. Because if we mess up their money, we mess up your employment. And what we know, the numbers have already shown us, is that companies that are more inclusive make more money. And here's the deal: teams that are more inclusive of women leadership outperform teams that are less inclusive of just women, not inclusive overall leadership, by 73%. So what we know is not just what's socially right, it's also what's fiscally right for these organizations. And what we're also seeing is that women do lead differently. And so I would tell you, as a person that goes into organizations and do leadership training, the thing I hate to hear people say is, like a man. teaching women to speak like a man or lead like a man. If I wanted to do it like a man, I would be a man. I'm not a man. There is nothing wrong with the way that we do it. And when we bring our unique spin, our unique way of doing things, that thing that we do, some of us do it from a compassionate perspective, some of us do it from our mothering or loving perspective, and some of us do it from a, I don't want to be a mama perspective. I'm not your mama, I'm not your auntie, I'm not your cousin, I'm your boss. However we do it, when we bring that to the table, it's a game changer for teams, for divisions, and for organizations. Your company needs to be more inclusive of women simply because it makes you a better company and it makes you more money. And that's on Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Period.
Period.
I love that. I mean, y'all have given so many nuggets. Look at me coming from out the coming from out the woodworks to join the conversation. So again, thank you all so very much for your wisdom and for your nuggets that you've given us tonight, and for your education and the awareness that you have definitely brought to this platform. I thank you so much. I'll even write notes. So many things I'm gonna start saying in meetings starting tomorrow. But no, seriously. What I want to do is give an opportunity to our audience members. We have some great, engaging audience members here that are here to support you, and maybe even ask you some questions. So what I'll do right now is I'm going to stop or pause the recording to see if we have any questions from the audience. And so for our audience,
You give to the audience and yourself as we strive towards equity and justice during Women's History Month. Judge Yumis, if you'd like to start, please.
I would say that be mindful of the fact that things have changed. We have come a long way, but it's not over. And because it's not over, we have to keep on with the fight. And more importantly, that sometimes we may get caught up in saying that it's not happening to me. I don't have a problem. I make it and I excel. But it's not just about you. It's about everyone. It's about all of us. So even if I'm able to make it to the next level, even if I'm able to work in corporate America or some big time job, and I may be the only one there, but I made it. Well, look around and say, well, I shouldn't be the only one here, and try to reach back and to help others. So the thing I would say to that the fight isn't over, and once you start becoming complacent, that's when we end up regressing and having to restart the fight all over again. So let's stay vigilant. Have the same temperament and mindset as Stacey Abrams did when she lost that fight for the position. But she lost the battle, but she won the war. And therefore, we have many more battles to fight. So that means we have many more wars to win.
Thank you so much. Amber, do you have any closing remarks or advice that you would like to give to the audience and to ourselves?
Sure. My advice would be never be outworked. Somebody might be smarter than you or more equipped than you or have some privilege over you, or be a man and have that privilege as well. But just work as hard as you can, do your best job, ask questions, find resources, find sponsors and mentors. Because listen, if you do good work, no matter how racist or bigoted someone is, if the work is good, the work is good. And sometimes you persevere in that space. I always said, I'm going to get up and I'm going to study longer, and I'm going to stay late and I'm going to study longer, because I realized that there were people there that were smarter than me and needed less rest than me. So I had to make sure to put myself in the right position. And when I figured something out, I told somebody else. That's at every job. And when I left the news station, it was important to me that I had somebody to replace me that looked like me, that was from here. I wanted somebody just like me to come in my stead, because we have to make sure we advocate, because if we do good work and we know someone, we can refer them. When you're in, and you have to use your active voice to let them know that there's people. It's not just, I'm not special. It's not just me. It's not just Amber. There's, Judge Yumis, there's Ansley Booker, there's Catherine, there's Ashley, there's Jade, there's Asia. There's tons of people that can come in and do this job just as good. And so just don't be outworked, get up before the competition, and make sure to use your influence to make sure that women and women of color are getting the types of jobs and advances that they need in your career field.
That's great advice. Madam Clerk, do you have any closing remarks or advice that you'd like to share?
I think that we all owe it to ourselves and we owe it to each other to become a mentor. We need to share the knowledge that we have. A lot of times people think that, you know, I'm so smart, I'm so great, I'm so bright. There's only room for one of me. There's only room for one. There's room for everyone. So if we could just take it upon ourselves to be a mentor to someone, to push someone, to pour into someone, to pull someone if you need to get them across the finish line, we can all be a mentor. Mentorship doesn't mean you have to be a certain age or a certain status. Amber, your sister was a mentor to you. So, you could be 5 and be a mentor to a 3-year-old, so and your mentor can actually be younger, because I've sought out some folks who are smarter than me in other areas, who are younger, to be my mentor. So we just all need to pour into each other so that we can help each other reach our goals, let our light shine, and so that we can make the world a better place by virtue of us being here, being present, and making sure that the door is open for more of us to take over the world.
Absolutely. We run the world. Deetra, what advice or closing remarks would you have that you'd like to share?
So, the newly appointed Black woman CEO of Essence Magazine, Caroline Wanga, she says something that I live by. She says, if you can't be who you are, where you are, change where you are, not who you are. For me, there, when you were born, you were created to fill a unique space on this earth. And that space is built to fit your body, your spirit, everything. It's made just for you. And the longer you stop, the longer you pretend to be somebody else, that hole, it's a gap there. And people fall in that hole because you won't take your rightful place where you're supposed to be. They're waiting for you to be, people are waiting to pay you to be who you are, but they can't find you because you're pretending to be someone else. For me, my closing remark, and I implore every single one of you, embrace your authentic self, because your authentic self is here to fill a hole. And right now, people are falling in that gap because you won't fill the hole. Jumis, Masara, Erica, Amber, we are filling a hole, and we are on this call today in this panel filling a hole for you. But guess what? One day we need you to fill the hole for us. And until you step into your authenticity, we're going to fall in a hole. And we tired of falling in holes. Please, 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 please fill your space on. If you do nothing else, do not leave this earth without filling your space.
This was awesome. Thank you guys so much for participating on our panel. Thank you to the audience for coming out. Thank you for allowing me to moderate. And for me, before I turn it back over to Ansley, on behalf of the Mercer University African Alumni Network, I appreciate all of you participating, all of you attending. Stay tuned to our Facebook page. We have some great things coming up. And once again, thank you to Dr. Booker for allowing me to moderate, for asking me to moderate, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Listen, I think y'all have preached tonight. I'm going to go ahead and round and pass the collection plate for those of you who have came to this, what is this, Wednesday night women's revival here. And again, I say all that jokingly, but I think so many nuggets of wisdom and so much love and so much support was poured into each and every one of our viewers tonight, regardless of what gender or sexual orientation or gender identity you subscribe to. I think you can learn so much from the women we had tonight here on these panels. And again, I thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart, because I was able to lean on the shield. I was able to lean on your support as being fellow Mercerians and fellow Bears. And so again, I just thank you so much. I hope you took notes. I wish I could read all the comments and all of the great words that you all have shared and people have taken with them tonight, and will carry them with them through the rest of the week, because we are dealing with so much in our current events. As we deal with, bias motivated hate in our Asian American communities, in the mass shootings that we've seen so far. So I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that so very much. But again, in keeping with time, it's a little bit over 7. Oh, it's right at 7:28. Excuse me, right on time. I want to allow, we didn't see any questions from the audience, but again, I'll leave the chat up for a few more moments if people want to go through the chat. And if you would like to connect with any of our panelists, I do believe they will be able to share whatever public information they can about being able to connect and making this a networking opportunity, because I see so many of our students here. I know a lot of you all mentioned networking, mentioned mentoring, and maybe you have inspired someone tonight. So again, if you want to stay around for another 2 or 3 more minutes, I'll leave that chat open and you will be able to message our panelists here tonight. So again, thank you, Attorney Amber Jones. Thank you, Honorable Erica Woodford. Thank you, Honorable Brenda Humans. Thank you again, TED Talk Award nominee, Deetra Giles. Look, what is it? CPA Adjunct of the Year. And again, everybody on this panel has so many accolades. I mean, I could really just run the gamut. And again, I just want to say thank you again through Catherine for her leadership, Ms. Ficklin's leadership, not only here with the Mercer African American Alumni Network. If you don't know her, Mr. Blair, who's on the call tonight, have done such a tremendous job with making sure that our voices are shared, welcomed, and heard, and included here on Mercer University's campus, working alongside myself and many other programs. So again, thank you so very much. You did an awesome job tonight. Great questions. I think we all, I had a couple tears in my eyes, a few moments, so I turned my camera off. But again, thanks so much. Thank you all so very much. I'm super excited. Want to give you back some of your time. I know it is about 7:30, but again, keep fighting the good fight. As Judge Humans told us, we have many, many more wars to win. We're not the Avengers. I did see that on social media this week. But again, we do want to make sure we're standing in the gap and using our gifts and using our talents to share with the world. So that is my spiel from the Office of Diversity and Inclusion.
There's one person in the chat, Ansley.
One person? Okay. Let me say this really quickly. Now I have the mic. I have a platform, like Ms. Jones said. This is going to be recorded. All of the things that we do from the Office of Diversity and Inclusion will go directly to our Mercer University YouTube page. So again, just search MU Diversity and Inclusion on YouTube. This recording will be up shortly this week as I work with my intern to get it processed and uploaded. So please be kind with us and give us a few days to get it uploaded. And also, after the person from the chat speaks, I will tell you about our next event on March 31st. So who do I need to highlight? Let me check the chat.
Conley Scott.
The name one more time.
Conley Scott.
Scott, okay. Oh, I just lost it. Oh, where did it go? Here we go.
And actually, Conley, if you'd like to come off mute and go ahead and ask your question, since we only have one question.
Yep, that'll be great.
Okay, doke. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to ask the question. It was just a curious question. I've been going through some interviews, and when they see the Association of Women Law Student Association on there, they would always ask me why, right? Because obviously I'm not a woman. So, I briefly try to explain that, it's for understanding and try to bridge a gap and understand what women actually need. So the question is, how can I encourage others to get out of that mindset that just because you're not part of the group, that you can't help the group?
I want to jump in on this one, Conley, especially, and I know the other ladies have a bunch of stuff to say about this one, but especially from the HR and DEI side, because that's what I really go out and do with a lot of organizations. So I will be honest with you all. One of the words that I hate that flies around right now is ally. I hate the word ally. I really, really do, mainly because I know what ally means. For example, the US is allies with a bunch of countries until it no longer serves us. And our ally yesterday is our enemy today. The word that I often roll around with is allegiance. Allegiance is about a loyalty. So that means even when I'm not benefiting, you're still on my side. So when we're right sizing this ship and we keep getting promoted and other people don't, that allyship starts to look real shaky. Like, hold on now, wait a minute, y'all done been promoted too many times and I'm still over here. But when it's allegiance says, no, there's a process to riding this ship and I need to ride the wave because we're making things right. Now, from the HR perspective, especially when it comes to getting promoted, your ability to demonstrate that not only am I showing that I'm in an inclusive environment and I have inclusive leadership. I've actually demonstrated that throughout the course of my education and my career. And many organizations right now are getting very real about people not just appearing to be inclusive, not just saying the right words. Oh, I know all the correct pronouns and things to say. They're being very intentional about identifying leaders that demonstrate inclusivity with their actions. So the fact that you're able to go all the way back to your education and show, no, this is not a thing I'm doing because it's popular and sexy right now. I've been doing this for years, even before it was required. You need to hold that up as your mantra. That's your USP, your unique selling proposition, your distinguishing factor between you and other candidates. So now don't worry about how to get them doing it. Talk about how you are truly an inclusive leader, and it goes back before it was required.
Any other panelists have anything to add? Any other questions from the audience?
I think you can see it in the comments. A couple of us were saying that we stand with our Asian sisters and to stop Asian hate. Right now is a great time for the African American community to show what we want. Like, it's time for us to step up and do what we've been asking others to do. And just like Conley said, like, you don't have to be a part of something to stand up and fight for what's right. And so it's just appropriate and fitting right now to just say, like, I've seen a lot of things on social media where Black people are like, this ain't our fight. Yes, it is. Yes, it is our fight. It's the same fight. And so if we don't stand up against white supremacy, then it will continue to prosper. And that's just my 2 cents on that question.
All right. Thank you so very much, Attorney Jones. One other thing that I was going to do before we close out, and it was 7:35, is that we actually will be having, my office will be hosting another event that I hope you all can attend. And again, you can find it on our Mercer University Diversity and Inclusion Facebook page, as well as our Instagram page. We'll be hosting the Honorable Mayor Reed from Montgomery and the First Lady Reed from Montgomery. She's the first female investment banker. She's also a member of Dulce Methodist Word Incorporated, Links, and so many other organizations. So again, he's also a member of Omega Psi Phi. So again, if we have a Divine Nine to come out and all other members of our community, Mercerians, to come out, they are not Mercer alums, but they are great HBCU graduates, and they do a lot for their community. And so they're actually going to talk about the rise of the new Montgomery and what does it mean in terms of race, politics, and economics, and what we can do to strengthen our community. So again, that is going to be March 31st. And that will be at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They will be on Central Standard Time. But if you are in the community and you do want to come out, please make sure you check for those events on our social media pages. And I thank you so very much for coming tonight. And have a good rest of the night, and stay well and stay safe. Thank you.